Hey everyone, Carl with Littleroot Lessons, bringing you a deep dive in the world of Pokemon featuring Dialga. This was suggested by Navier in the Discord, told me to cover either Dialga or Palkia, or whatever restricted I wanted to cover, and it felt fitting because I've been helping Ro with his Draft League stuff after I lost in Draft League, and he had Dialga a lot of the time, just played Dialga a lot with it, so we did a lot of calcs for it. I kind of have an idea on how Dialga works the most. So I figured we could cover Dialga and then maybe cover another restricted later on this week. And then we'll have Regirock ready for next time, whoever asked for that one. I figured 2 restricteds this week would be a good idea. So let me know down below who you want me to cover as another restricted for this week. I have a short list of Pokemon that I will cover if no one suggests anything. But make sure to leave a like, leave a comment down below, hit that subscribe button, ring the bell for notifications for when new videos go live. Helps us out a lot. We're slowly growing. We're currently 211 subscribers, if I remember correctly, which last time I looked at it before was just barely over 200, so this is great. So Dialga. Dialga is a very good special attacker. Notably being a steel type special attacker is very rare. Steel types are normally very physical, very defensive. Dialga is kind of the opposite of that, but actually has just great bulk overall and has a very high special attack stat. Not really represented in the Series 8 meta that much though. Just Pokemon like Zacian and Kyogre kind of just outperform it. Dialga takes a lot of support, and even though it has really cool tools like Trick Room and a very deep move pool and really good bulk, it kind of just leaves a little bit to be desired. For those that may not know what Trick Room does, I have a nice little tidbit of it there on screen. But Dialga easily can abuse this Trick Room in this format just because restricted Pokemon tend to be very fast. Dialga is on the slower side. It's not the slowest restricted Pokemon in the format, but it's on the slower side. So it can actually use this Trick Room to its advantage, usually on the teams that people play it on. Introduced in the Crown Tundra DLC, Dialga hasn't really taken off. It puts up results every now and then, but it definitely is a weaker restricted, if you want to call it weaker. Very underrepresented, not really played at all. Only 4% usage in Series 8, which, when you look at restricteds, it's the top 10 still. It's number 7, but Zacian has 25%, and then Kyogre's right after that, and then Groudon, and then Solgaleo, and all these other Pokemon are just a little bit better. But you can use this to your advantage because not everyone will know how to play against Dialga. So there's good and bad sides to not being a super represented Pokemon. Common partners for Dialga usually mitigate weaknesses for it. It only has 2 weaknesses, being a Steel Dragon type in fighting and ground. Pokemon like Landorus, who can switch into ground type attacks and can also intimidate physical attackers like Cinderace and other fighting type coverage, is usually pretty good for it. There's also the ability it has telepathy. Telepathy means that you can just sit there with Landorus, Zapdos, and just spam Earthquake, Discharge, or whatever next to it, and it's not going to take any damage because telepathy prevents that. There's also redirection between Togekiss, which resists resists fighting and is immune to ground. Amoonguss, which takes ground type attacks neutral, but also resists fighting. There's Grimmsnarl that screens. There's Tapu Fini that can just make sure it doesn't get statused, and there's so many good partners for Dialga. The thing is that keeps Dialga down is it needs a lot of partners. Dialga is very much a build around Pokemon. Even though it has insane coverage, usually you're running Flash Cannon, Earth Power, a Dragon type move, be it Roar of Time or Draco Meteor, and then it's usually Trick Room or Protect. Sometimes you can run Flamethrower, sometimes you can run Thunder and Thunderbolt. Those are usually reserved for Assault Vest sets because they can't run Protect or Trick Room. As for common items, Weakness Policy is the most common one. It has insane bulk, so getting that Weakness Policy to activate usually isn't that hard because your opponent has to hit it super effectively really to take it out anyway. The other items here are Lifeform and Adamant Orb. They're both pretty much do the same thing. Adamant Orb is a 1.2 times bonus to its dragon and steel type attacks, whereas Life Orb is a 1.3 times bonus, but at the cost of some of your HP. So it depends on what you're wanting to do with it. Adamant Orb is usually if you only have steel and dragon type attacks anyway. Adamant Orb's a little bit better because you're not costing a lot of your bulk through to Life Orb, whereas Life Orb's better if you're trying to just like, you need that Earth Power, or you need that Flamethrower, or the Ice Beam, or the Thunderbolt, or whatever it is. If you just need that coverage, Life Orb's usually a little bit better for you. As for movesets, these first two sets are probably fairly common when it comes to Dialga. The first set is very standard, max HP, max special attack, Trick Room, Adamant Orb, blow you up a lot of the times. We can Dynamax it if we want to, but we don't actually have to. Also is a threat in Trick Room and outside of Trick Room. It's a very universal Pokemon, very flexible in what it can do. The second set is a little bit more specific. If I remember correctly, I calculated the set to survive Sacred Sword from Zacian, which is actually really good. We don't have to Dynamax, and we can survive the Sacred Sword, which is important. Granted, you don't survive it by a lot, so usually you get to swap, you get to trade your restricted for theirs restricted, because Life Orb Earth Power usually takes out a not very bulky Zacian. But Zacian's also running a lot more bulk these days, but not as much attack, so you live Sacred Swords a little bit more, and you can usually get a couple attacks off and things like that. This set specifically is designed for outside of Trick Room though, so do not play this as a Trick Room sweeper. These next two kind of just abuse Trick Room in their own way. The first one is a weakness policy with Trick Room. The first set is like designed to go with the copycat shenanigans you see where you max guard your Dialga, but the max guard is Trick Room, and then you get to copycat, and if you timed it, if your opponent did interrupt it at any point, you get to go copycat, set Trick Room, and then Dialga just gets to sweep after that. The second set's very bulky, it's very defensive. Max HP, max special attack with Assault Vest means almost nothing is taking you out in any capacity, and can just do well, even as long as Trick Room's up, can do really, really well. When you're building with Dialga, like I said, its weaknesses are a huge part of what makes Dialga like great, but also can be a hindrance sometimes. You really want to like keep Dialga safe, things like redirection, Pokemon that are immune to ground or resist fighting or even immune to fighting. Those are very good support Pokemon, especially if you're looking to just use Dialga as a blow you up kind of button. Dialga does have a very defensive set. You could probably play with Iron Defense and Body Press and things like that, but it's not as common. Normally though, Dialga is a very bulky TR setter that doesn't have to max because it's got moves like Roar of Time, Draco Meteor, things like that. I believe it has access to Steel Beam too, which Steel Beam is the Steel Tutor move. If it doesn't, oh well, but if it does, that's a lot of damage. Also, having ways to remove debuffs is very, very good for Dialga. Things like Haze or moves like Mist to prevent it will go a long way to keeping your Dialga very healthy and very powerful. On the flip side of that, beating Dialga is much easier than you think. Moves like Snarl, Spirit Break, other ways to drop its special attack, or if it's physical attack, or its defenses are very, very good. Dialga is very weak to these kind of debuffs. If you get Dialga wants to sit on the field and it wants to do damage and absorb a bunch of damage, but if you can make it to where it does no damage, then it's not doing anything but just taking up a slot of the team. Fighting and ground coverage is key to beating Dialga, but don't get baited into just clicking Max Quake or Max Knuckle every turn. A lot of the times they run switch-ins or resists and redirections and things like that, so use your Dynamax effectively, use your coverage effectively, just don't get suckered into I have to kill it now mode. Chip away at it. It may not be always 100% the best move, but playing safe against Dialga is better than just trying to blow it up immediately. Also, using statuses that can just actually make Dialga just weaker overall. Things like Burn can chip away at Dialga while you can't actually hit it with a super effective move. Things like Paralysis, while it's already slow and wants to be in Trick Room, paralysis slows it down even more, so when it's outside of Trick Room, you can just easily punish it with the rest of your team. So what have we learned so far? Dialga is a very powerful Pokemon when it comes to restricted, but it just doesn't have the numbers to show it. With proper coverage, debuffs, and things like that, you can make Dialga no longer a threat, but Dialga is always going to pose a threat if there's always a Pokemon to switch in for it. So if you can eliminate all the support, you can make it to where Dialga doesn't do anything, and you can win the game from there. And always build around Dialga. Dialga is one of these build around restricteds. It's not I'm gonna slap Zacian on my team because I have a need for a steel type. Dialga really wants that support. It really wants the team built around it. Make sure you build around it so you can use Dialga to its fullest ability. And with that being said, I want to thank everyone for hanging out and watching this today. Make sure, again, leave a like, comment down below what restricted you want to see on Friday. I try to get these done ahead of time, but I haven't started the other one yet, so comment down below. I really want to know who you want me to see me cover next. If no one comments down below, we're probably talking about Yveltal next week. It is one of my favorites, and I'm really excited to try and explain the world of Yveltal to people. Make sure you follow us on Twitter at LR Lessons for podcast updates, video updates, all that stuff. You can find my personal Twitter at musical_33, my co-host at Mr. Missouri25. You can also find us on Twitch, where we stream occasionally. Myself at twitch.tv/musical, Carter at twitch.tv/Mr. Missouri25. And make sure you come and join the Discord. The Discord's where we get our teams for laddering. It's where we talk to our community. We run events occasionally. Right now we're wrapping up Draft League, getting ready to start a multi-battle Draft League. And if that's something that suits your fancy, or if you want to know more, just hit the Discord invite down below, discord.gg/LR Lessons. Takes you right to the server. There's a whole sign-up sheet and a multi-battle discussion plan, and just ask for Evan. Evan can direct you where to go. But again, thank everyone for watching. Have a wonderful morning, afternoon, evening, wherever you're in the world, and we will see you all on Friday. Bye, guys.